Okay, I want to talk about positioning now. Now, we haven't spent any time at all during this class talking about marketing, and that's on purpose. But one of the decisions you're going to make is going to be a marketing decision that's going to change everything about what you do for the entire length of your organization's life. And that is, what position are you going to fill in the marketplace? And I want to show you a very simple technique, and I'm going to post all the pictures I'm going to use on the course site that will help you understand how you get to pick what it is you're going to choose to do. So let's get right into it. What you do is you take a big fat notebook and you draw two axes like this. X and Y coordinates, right? You remember this from math class. Now this is the hard part. What you're going to do is, for whatever market you've decided to capture, whatever market you want to go into, you have to pick two extremes that you can chart all the other options, not just your competition, but all the other options that are available. So if I wanted to talk about vacations, one option could be, is it hot or is it cold? Another one could be, are you sitting around or are you active? So under the hot and active, we would have windsurfing in Aruba over here, and under the cold and sitting around, we would have the ice hotel in Finland or whatever it is, where people just go and sit in an igloo. Now, once you draw this, you're going to discover that there is a slot for you, or maybe there isn't. So let's talk about that. So let me take another one, do this, right? All right, so I just drew this up for you. And here we have the XY for pizza. Now, pizza used to be just this, local. That was your only thing. It wasn't that expensive, and it didn't happen that fast. Then Domino's came along after drawing this grid, and they said, wait a minute, what would happen if we made pizza that wasn't any better than local, maybe even worse, but you got it fast and easy? So they said, that's what our position in the marketplace is. We are not going to try to sell you on the fact that we're better pizza. We're going to try to sell you that we're easier pizza. But then the frozen guys came along, they're up here, and they said, we're going to be as cheap as it can be and as fast as it can be because it's in your freezer, right? So they boxed in Domino's for a lot of people because you can just go up the thing over there. But meanwhile, you may have noticed that this isn't better. This is just one of the choices. Down here is a place in Brooklyn called DeFara's. Now, if you go to DeFara's, it will take you, I don't know, 45 minutes to get there from Grand Central Station and 5 hours to get there from Dallas. And when you get there, you will wait between an hour and 3 hours for Mr. DeFara to make you a pizza that costs double what that pizza would cost you at the local place. Now, you could say, that's stupid. Why would anyone do this? Well, all you have to do is go there and see how happy Dom is and see how happy he makes his customers and realize he's been making a living doing this for a long time. Now, the thing to understand here, there are a bunch of things. The first one is this. I didn't pick these randomly, right? It could notice that there's no axis here for delicious generic. I could have done that. We could have said, wait a minute, let's rechart everything on a different axis. But what you must pick is axes that people care about. Not that you care about, but that customers care about. Because if they're not axes that they care about, like let's say you decided to do the one I just described, the XY for vacation places, and the axes you decided to chart on were whether or not it's easy to use lira at this hotel. No one cares, because if you don't take lira, they'll just do the exchange before they get there if they're from Italy. The point is, you can't be selfish as you pick these. You have to be empathetic as you pick these. You have to pick axes that people care about. Then, once you've done it, you look at all the four quadrants and you say, is there a quadrant I would like to be in? Is there a quadrant where if I show up with the business model I have, with the assets I have, if I show up with that, will I be alone, a monopoly, an indispensable choice? Because if not, you're going to have to do a lot of marketing and a lot of effort and maybe even have a price war to win. Far better to redo the axes, right? Come up with a different way to do it until you find one where there is an unserved quadrant, not only unserved, but a quadrant, let's go back to this, where you can win. So you can say, oh, you know what? There is nobody who is dominating the market for as good as DeFara's, worth paying a lot for, but also super fast and easy. If I could make that, right? If I could make a $25 frozen pizza, I could win. Well, it turns out someone did that. And if you go to the Whole Foods Market, you'll see it right next to the generic frozen pizzas. You might see Vermont flatbread, for example. There's somebody who said, we're going to make this in a wood-burning stove in Waitsfield, Vermont, and we don't care what it costs because that's not our axis. Our axis is it worth paying for, and is it in my freezer? And for some people in that market, that's exactly what they want. So to reiterate what you're going to see online, I'm going to post the blank one, and I'm going to post the one I just filled in. But you need to be able to draw it, label it, and then show it to peers, show it to other people you're working with and say, do these axes make sense, right? Before you put your business in there, do these axes make sense? If you thought about the market for replacement windows or philanthropy or religious institutions, are these things you care about? And if the answer is yes, then you say, well, if there was something in this quadrant, is that something you might be willing to try? So that's, in a nutshell, the easiest way to find a spot in the market where you can thrive. Have fun with it.